5 seconds. Get ready. Start. In regard to production, we fear that we may again be in a mess. We have not been able to control lockouts, etc. And in regard to the production of groundnuts, cotton, and jute, there is an oversupply. The jute mills are crying that their products have not been taken up. In such a situation, which would hamper production next year, when the real producers are not getting impetus, whether they produce food grains, edible oils, jute, sugarcane, cotton, and oilseeds, the danger is that they will not get adequate encouragement and the production may not go on steadily increasing as it did this year. As such, one would expect that the government would consider the fact that the jute mills are not doing justice to jute production, its growers, or even its marketing. They are depending entirely upon the government. They are not reducing the price of the jute goods. When the price of jute has gone down naturally, we expect that the prices of jute goods will be less, but they are not cheaper. There is a crisis in the jute market, but the prices of finished goods are where they were. They are also slightly costlier in some respects. In such a situation, the production policy of the private sector is not helping the cause of the industry itself, much less to talk of that of the producers or consumers. And the same thing applies to sugar mills and to cotton mills in private hands. One would feel that the time has come when the government should take up courage to nationalize at least jute, cotton, and sugar mills in order to be in a stronger position and to have a strong hand over production and to have a steady increase in production in order to have proper distribution and reasonable prices. Then comes the question of distribution. With regard to this, our government feels very helpless. The minister has indicated that the traders were reconciled to the emergency and were waiting on their wings to exploit the situation when the opportunity arose. The opportunity was the delay in onset of the monsoon by 3 weeks, which led them to hoarding and black marketing. He is saying in a helpless manner that some delay in the onset of the monsoon allowed them to resort to hoarding and black marketing. Therefore, they are committing these crimes at a time when there is a national emergency, when the government has more than adequate powers to control them. There should be a panel to deal with compilation of production data and identifying trends of significance and advising the government in time of need. Next, Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the recommendation on certain observations of the board with regard to the policy on children of our country is really speaking a very good outcome and a very good exercise. I have patiently heard the views on the policy as they were expressed by our Honorable Deputy Minister on the last day of the previous session. I also congratulated him for his attitude towards the children, but I would like to point out a few things on this national policy on children which is followed in other countries as well as in India. In India, perhaps it is a known fact, both from the point of view of religion and that of ancient thinking, that the child is treated as God. Usually, it is a common phenomenon both in the villages and the cities. This symbolizes our devotion to children. It also indicates our expectations and our dreams about children. I could really appreciate that when we were under the British rule, we could not evolve a suitable policy in relation to children with a view to improving their conditions. But we are now a free country. After taking oath as the Prime Minister of Free India, Jawaharlal Nehru never forgot to mention something about the children of India whenever he spoke, whether on the occasion of Republic Day, Independence Day, or anything else. He thought that the country could have been built much more given sufficient care, and they had been made to feel that they were partners in all our work. This was also the thinking of Lenin in Soviet Russia. Immediately after the revolution, Lenin used to speak about children on all occasions and say that they should be given due care. This resulted in the formation of the Young Pioneers group for children between the ages of 6 and 14 in Soviet Union and other socialist countries. In all the socialist countries, this group is recognized, engineered, financed, and administered by the governments and given highest priority in the matter of development. Similarly, measures have been undertaken recently in Iraq also. While I was there recently, I could see that they have adopted the same policy. The first priority is given to them by that country. In our country, many organizations do take care of the children. Voluntary organizations and the state governments do provide them with many facilities. The recommendations are very nice. If we read them, they appear to be much more constructive than even the young pioneer groups programs in the Soviet Union. But in actual practice, nothing has been done because of lack of funds. If everybody receiving a salary and paying income tax, wealth tax, gift tax, or vehicle tax is requested to participate in the endeavor to raise resources for children, nobody will object. If the general masses pay 5 paisa per individual per year, we can have a very sizable budget and a very constructive and comprehensive policy, both at the center and in the states. When a child grows into a young man, he talks of sports and games. Look at the budget allocation for sports and games, which would help the development of the mental and physical potential of the young of our country. It is a small amount in comparison to what they spend in Middle Eastern countries. In a country having 100 crores of people, that is the second largest population in the world, children and youth are not given any financial expenditure support by the government. There is no compulsory item of expenditure for the promotion of the moral and cultural talents of the children. In the national sphere, this work has to depend on some social organizations. I do not object to the participation of voluntary organizations, but I do feel that when a country proclaims itself to be a socialist country or a country on its march towards socialism, the looking after the youth and children should be the basic pillar of the policy of the country. What is the position in our country? The children are badly neglected. They do not know even their own parents. In the words of Jawaharlal Nehru, when a child is born in this country, it should consider the country as its mother, and the country should consider the children as their own. Do our children think of our country in that way now? Today, the looking after of children is done by the father of a church because they feel that is the way to serve God. Sometimes we give them prizes or we recommend their names to the United Nations organization or other authorities for the award of Nobel or some other prize. But do you think that a country like ours should depend on a father of a church for the welfare of our children? The moment a child is born in our country, it should be the responsibility of the country under our constitution and the rule of law as it obtains today. Stop. Thank you.